In this section of the video, I want to describe these 4 heat exchange processes, and you can read about these in 40.3 of Campbell Biology, and you can see them in figure 40.12. So these are 4 ways that heat is exchanged with plants and animals with their environment. So the first one is radiation, and radiation refers to electromagnetic waves that are radiated from objects. And so like we get a lot of heat by radiation from the sun, and the radiation from the sun is all pretty much across the spectrum, the visible light spectrum. And so that radiation warms us up. And even with the sun being 93 million miles away, we can still stand in the sun and feel its warmth. And that to me is amazing. And you can see that this reptile is not only being heated by radiation from the sun, but this reptile is also radiating heat itself. So long wave radiation, infrared radiation, comes off of all bodies depending on their temperature. So this reptile is both gaining and losing heat by radiation. Secondly, we have evaporation, and evaporation can cause heat loss. If water evaporates off the surface of a body, that water, as it's evaporating, as it's changing from a liquid to a gas, that process requires heat, and that heat has to come from the body. So evaporative cooling is where water is evaporating and taking heat from the body in that process. So next time you're working out and you're all sweaty, you can just tell your friends, I'm not sweating, I'm experiencing evaporative cooling. The third one is conduction, and conduction is really easy to understand. It's just heat that is being transferred between 2 objects or 2 bodies that are directly touching. So this lizard, actually it looks like an iguana, is absorbing heat directly from this warm rock that it is sitting on. So that is heat exchange by direct contact. And then finally, we have convection, which is a little bit harder to understand. Convection is when heat is moved by currents of air or currents of water. So around objects, there tends to be a thin layer of air that we call the boundary layer. And if the air is really still, this boundary layer can be kind of thick, and so your body will warm that layer of air next to your skin, and that will kind of act like insulation and keep you warm. But if it's windy, that air will be blown away from the body and replaced by cooler air, and so that takes heat away from the body, and that is called convection. This can also happen in the water as well as in wind.